Hey everyone, we are the Gratitude Girls.
Gratitude Girls are in the house. Hi, Laurie. How are you?
Hi, Kathryn.
It is so good to see you. Here we are. We are getting close to the end of 2022. I don't believe it, but like that, like it just flew by. But we're going to embrace the moment that we're in right now because we don't need to rush anything. We can be right here and be present. I want to welcome our guests, welcome our audience tonight. And I really want to give you a big warm welcome, Laurie. There's so many things that have been going on and so much happening in the world and in our lives and in our professional lives and personal lives. For the people that are tuning in with us for the first time because they're here with our guest and wanting to find out a little bit more about her, maybe we can do is just share that famous story about what happened to us and why we're here. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Kathryn Asaro Myers. I'm affectionately known as RaRa's in the house, and I'm broadcasting to you live tonight from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here with my amazing Gratitude Girls partner.
Yes, and I am Laurie Delk Radecki. I'm in a little tiny town called Columbia outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
So we have the merging of 3 cities and I'm going to say 3 countries tonight. So this is a real international Gratitude Girls call. And this is the vision that Laurie and I had when we first met. So we're living it right now. And then we'll explain that. You'll pardon this broadcasting voice that I have, or maybe we'll embrace this broadcasting voice that I have. It's this new trying it on for size, what Laurie and I do in our coaching business. So Laurie, let's talk a little bit about, I'll ask you to talk about it, how we met and why we have a Gratitude Girls show.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a cool Stevie Nicks voice, right? But so Kathryn and I are both part of a direct sales company called Hangout Cards, and we actually met on stage in front of thousands of people. So each year our company has an international convention where they have a theme for that year. So back in 2013, this is our 10-year anniversary, the theme was called gratitude. And so our CEO gets up on stage at our convention and he starts talking about all the attributes and the accolades and the accomplishments of the person who's going to win the award. And then he called Kathryn up on stage. And so me being the techie person, I'm in the back, I'm taking videos, I'm taking pictures. And then all of a sudden our CEO announced that for the very first time ever in the company, and the only time since then, that there was a tie. And so he started giving all the information of the other person. And I kept listening and waiting. And I was like, and he gives like these different clues. And I'm one of the longest standing distributors in the company. And so I like know almost everyone. And so I was like, who could it be? It could be this person. And then he'd say something and it would rule them out. And so I'm trying to think of who it was. And then he ended up calling my name. So Kathryn and I met on stage in front of thousands of people, and we both are of the mindset that nothing is coincidence. There's always a reason for everything. And of course, I had my trusty little phone with me, and literally within 2 minutes of being announced and given the Gratitude Award, and we are 2 girls, we decided Gratitude Girls was born. At the time, we didn't know what we were going to do with it yet, and then now here we are 10 years later, and we've been doing these shows every month. We've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of coaching in our private coaching group, and we have our Gratitude Girls retreats and a journal, and who knows what else.
So much more coming. I remember that moment, Laurie, because I was standing and for a split second, I thought, I don't think I'm going to be able to stand. It was so exciting when I heard my name called. And what you didn't say, because Laurie is too modest to say this, in this company, Laurie was awarded and recognized for giving the most gifts. And I had always wanted to meet Laurie. I thought, what would it be like to meet this person who was recognized for this. And when I heard your name, I was standing up on stage and Laurie walked up and I thought, I'm going to get to meet her right here in front of everyone. And when we walked down the stage, I remember that we actually held hands and we went down to the bottom step. And it was really that moment of me wanting to meet her and then walking right up and having that connection. If you've ever felt that in your life, you know that it's electric, it's deep, and you don't want to walk away from that. You don't want to let it go. We didn't even think about it. We just dove right in like two deep sea fisher girls, and we went into Gratitude Girls. We have an opportunity to have our guests share their gratitude stories. This is what we're going to be doing tonight. Tonight, we're going to welcome an amazing woman. I'll share a bit about her, and we'll have some conversation, and we'll talk about gratitude. And we have a little twist to the show that we like to have our guest sort of take over. So tonight, I'd like to introduce a good friend and a wonderful person, Kate Unger. Kate is a healthy lifestyle expert, a spiritual coach, an author, a vocalist. She's going to tell us more about that. A podcast host. I have the pleasure and the honor of being a guest on her show, and the host of Living Your Juiciest Life Ever. That name in itself just makes you want to be on the show. Kate helps busy entrepreneurs raise the bar on their health, amplify their light, and step more into their voice. It's Tuesday night, you know, the voice is actually live. Claiming joy and really feeling like they are in tune and on fire. We're living in a new space and time now, a new space and a new time, as Kate says, and it is imperative that we connect and collaborate at a new level and step into what really fills our hearts. Kate Unger, welcome to the Gratitude Girls.
Thank you so much, Kathryn. Thank you so much, both of you. And what a great story that was. When you said you met on stage, I thought, well, it's probably a recognition thing, and they both got recognized. Well, you did, but it was way more than that, obviously.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
what a fabulous company to that's such a perfect fit for that whole gratefulness and gratitude that it carries. It's the recognition and the thankfulness each and every day, right? So and Kathryn, ever since I met you and I found out, I remember the conversation we had the day that I was sitting in a parking lot in Cassidy, British Columbia, and we had our first chit chat. And it was like, I mean, I'm imagining it like it was yesterday, and it was a really wonderful conversation. You were so different than the person that I thought I saw on video on the event that we were at, and which is how we first connected. And so you've surprised me on more than one occasion by your generosity of spirit and your kindness and your heart, and I'm gonna cry.
Oh, thank you, Kate. That's so kind of you. What a way to walk into the room. You just warmed everybody up right from head to toe. There's connection here. I mean, it's very clear, very obvious that we have connection. And in the episode that you invited me to, we could post that link as well. But I want to welcome you to this show and to say what an honor it is to be able to speak with you. And so many things have changed in your life from when we first met, when you were in that parking lot, right? To now. There are some amazing things happening in your life. Let's get right to the punch. What's brand new in Kate Unger's life? Because I know something happened in the last 24 hours.
What's brand new? Oh, in the last 24 hours, I sang last night.
So tell us about that.
Surprise. Well, it was the first, apparently, like when we came to, we're in a very small village where size and location where we are is try and pay with credit card. Go ahead. See how reliant you've become on your debit card. See how reliant you've become to your telephone. And oh, you don't have the right currency. Oh, and another step further. Oh, the ATM, the only one of 2 ATM machines is not giving out money today. And then there's a person sitting in front of the dentist's office right next to the ATM machine that turns around and offers you money. Oh, you need money? I'll give you some money. Like, who are you?
Well, let people know what country you're in.
In Mexico. Yeah.
Where in Mexico about?
About an hour away from Puerto Vallarta.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell us about your singing. When you say I sang, is this something new? Have you always wanted to sing? Do you sing in the shower? Do you sing on stage?
Now I am a professional vocalist, and I was singing with live musicians up until I guess that would almost be 3 years ago now. And when the whole world changed. And so not having time to get into the whole story about the arrival here and all the things that have transpired, I decided at the beginning of this year, the end of last year, and I decided with prompting, or God has said to me for a long time, when I've been in some kind of emotional turmoil or feeling lost or feeling frustrated or whatever, I hear him say, sing. And I have always sung, and I did become a professional. I had stage fright many years ago, and that was a whole journey. And there's a massive gratitude story in there, because when I decided that I was going to get over my stage fright, and I didn't make it about getting on a stage, I said, if I never get on another stage again in my life, I have to learn this music, which happened to be jazz. And then I moved to a city that I never lived in before. And all of a sudden, all of these people started to show up. I mean, I've had the opportunity and blessing to be able to sing with, be accompanied by some of the top jazz musicians in Canada. I've sung internationally by walking into a place where I met somebody once that was in a completely different country. It was in Chicago, in a Chicago jazz club. And I ended up singing on stage there, which was amazing. So coming here, I have shared with a few people that I want to sing here. And they say there's no shortage of music here. There's music everywhere, there's open mics everywhere, there's karaoke, there's all these things. And it's like, well, that's really good. It's juicy with music. And I'm thinking, is there any people that play jazz? Who knows, right? So yesterday we saw a post for the village. There's a village post on Facebook that said, hey, it's the first night and it's 2 parks away from us that they're doing their open mic. No idea. It's been since May was the last time I got on stage. I did a one-woman show on Vancouver Island before we left, which was March. And walked into the park, and there were some people playing, and then the next, they came off the stage, and this woman came up and did a little emceeing, and she sang something a cappella, and then the next person went up, and I went, I don't know, am I gonna get up today? And then someone in my park got up to play the dobro. Do you know what a dobro is?
No.
Dobro kind of looks like a guitar, but it sits on your lap. There's many instruments that actually look like that.
Okay,
It
yes.
sounds really cool. Anyway, he got up and he started playing more familiar music. It was kind of more on the blues side of things. And then he sang a Van Morrison song, and he was about to get off stage, and I just got up, went straight to the stage, and I thought to myself, with the music you play, you must know something that I sing. And so I said, do you know Flip Flop and Fly? And he said, oh, well, yeah, I haven't played it in years. And he said, what key do you sing it in? I said, B flat. Got up on stage.
Amazing.
And we did this song together, and we had so much fun. And I tried another song, and then, you know, he said he didn't. I said, you're playing Van Morrison, you must know Moondance.
Oh, really? Of
He
course.
said, no, I don't.
Oh,
And I said, well, I guess we're gonna have to work on that one. So anyway, I thanked him, and he got off the stage, and I asked for permission to sing a song a cappella for the audience, and they were like, yes, please. And the other thing that happened before we sang was, I've really been feeling there's so much love in this place. And that Bruce, my husband, and I have both, when we arrived, we both feel it. There's such an acceptance, both from the people that are from here, you know, and their history is here, and from the people whose history isn't from here. But both, there's just this real acceptance and this flow and this love.
it feels like it's
love.
exciting for you
Yeah.
to, first of all,
Yeah.
be in a new place with your husband, relocate, have your singing career, so to speak, your singing, I don't want to call it a dream, because it's not a dream. You use your voice professionally.
No.
And you experience it. And I'm so happy that it's so timely that this happened last night, and you could bring this, you know, raw, authentic joy right to this show, because I don't know how many people you've told about it.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, well, now you've told your and our entire audience, and we have it, you know, videoed for you, so you can come back to this moment where you're glowing, Kate, not just from the sun, not just from, you know, the beautiful makeup that you have on and your skin, you're glowing from within. Now, prior to you having this voice career, 48 hours ago, 36 hours ago, what would you say a typical, well, I can't even say typical day in the life, because
Not anymore.
that's not even going to apply, but what would you say that you dove into career wise? Where was your focus?
Well, before I had made the decision, I spent the last 25 years working as a shiatsu therapist and as a healthy lifestyle expert, helping people. And actually, interesting is I worked with their bodies, but I also coached them at the same time. So as I was working on them, I got so much information from their bodies. It was such a great gift and opportunity to be able to help at a different level. So that was a long time. And I sang with all of that. I integrated inside out beauty in all the things that I did. So I was doing image consulting, and again, working with self-love, and applying it, you know, working with the whole inside out, outside in. It's just, we are affected so much by what we wear, what we think, what our environment is. And I think we often forget that. And so that was most of my focus, and my music was always a reminder when life wasn't going as well and harmoniously as it should. And then I'd go, oh, I haven't been singing enough.
Well, Kate, before I pass the mic over to Laurie, you said something to me earlier today, and I thought it was so amazing that perhaps our audience needs to hear this about themselves. You talked about sort of a sentence of talking to our body when I spoke about, you know, this new voice I have. And maybe you could share this one sentence with our audience so they could tell it to themselves in case there's something that's unwanted that's going on with them.
Yes. So I don't recall the exact sentence, but I'd say that we are triune. And so we have spirit, soul, and body. And we get so attached and addicted to the physical environment that we forget that that's not us. We forget that our first identity is spirit. And so in that space, we forget that we have the power to speak over our bodies and to work in partnership with them, and that the body is here to serve us. So to ask it, to lift it, to command it, to, you know, I think probably the most common thing that we do is beat ourselves up. So we don't want to be doing that. Right. So it's like, okay, body, here's the deal. We want to get in alignment
Right.
with our spirit. Obviously, we've been out of alignment. And so there's decisions that we need to begin to make and claim, and we have to build our belief around that. It's such a powerful thing. And so focusing on, for example, with what it is that's been going on with your voice, and this has been going on for a while. You can also, what also came to me today for you was asking your voice, what is it that it needs? What is the blockage saying? Ask, and then sit in a space of stillness, and you'll get a word.
I
Or
love
you'll
that you
get a
can
feeling.
I love that. Just let's hold on to that for a minute. So we want our audience to just hear this message. Ask your body what it needs. So just sort of let that absorb, right? If it's a voice or a headache or whatever, something that's not something you don't want, or something that you're not sure, why is it happening? An earache. I mean, we hear this all the time. I had a headache, I had an earache, I had a backache, I was tired, I have a cold, my voice, my throat. So instead of just camouflaging it, just ask it, what does it need? I love that we talked about that earlier today.
Yeah. And then the other part, the part that's really important about that, I came from a life of solution creating, right? Someone would come in with pain, I knew where it came from. But I never stayed in the space of physicality. I would speak on the physical level, but then I would bring it back to what's behind all of that. So when you're asking, beware of the fine line between asking from a spiritual perspective or a physical perspective, looking for some kind of medication or something like that. We want to go beyond that, because our body has capacity that we have completely forgotten. Our whole being, like how we've been created to be. There's so much of it that we, like I always say to God, I say, you know, like, forgive me for the limitation that I've put on my own humanness. And I ask for expansion to be able to grasp more of what it is and how it is that we've been created. For there is such, we have been created in the image and likeness. So what are we missing? And we look at the detachment that we live in the world from each other, which is so incredibly important for us to reconnect. And when I talked about reconnecting in a new place, this is spiritual, this is deep, this isn't what can we do for each other in business, because it's naturally going to happen. And the other thing, and I want to bring this one thing up because I think this is really, really juicy. And I've only once spoken about this in a group setting at this point, is that we have to stop thinking in world ways about how to build business. We have to think, what does it mean to build from a kingdom perspective? What does it mean? And how does that help us to show up differently? And so I'm going through this transition of letting go of that really, like I listen to all of these different things. You got to do this for marketing, and you got to do that for marketing, and you have, all these different things. And I finally got to a place because I felt such discomfort. And Laurie, I get that you really get what I'm saying here too, right? And that there's such limitation in all of this, and our ability to touch at such a great space. Yes, we need to be out there in the world for sure, but our thinking is so limited, it limits how we experience the world and our ability to connect and to touch the world in a bigger way. So we need to have more of these conversations so that we can together flower in it. Even when we don't know the answer in a conscious perspective, we know it in our spirit.
It's so good to have you articulate this. You're so good at putting your message out there and then creating this image around it so we really can feel what you're talking about. I'm going to pass the mic over to Laurie because I know she has some questions for you, Kate.
Hi, Laurie.
Hi. Yes, of course I have questions. First, I have a comment too. I have, so my oldest son, who's 28, he's the father of my grandbaby. And he actually just quit his quote day job so he could go back to school to become a massage therapist like his grandmother. So I'm going to have him watch this show too, because I'm sure he could connect with you and learn so much from you as well. So I have two questions.
Okay.
One, what made you decide to go to Mexico besides the fact that I'm so jealous that I'm in a very thick sweater and you are obviously very balmy weather that I would love to be in? And
oh boy, that's a big question.
And then second, after you answer that one, then tell me something, some sort of course, this is the Gratitude Girl. So some gratitude story of something that you're thankful and grateful for and a story around that. And of course, we know that there's like millions and you could never like leave one out or whatever if you started up. So just pick one out of the pocket.
Okay. So we decided, this was a few years ago. We both, my husband and I, both liked the idea of living in more than one place. And he hates winter. I like all seasons. Yes, I love being on the beach. I love the fact that it's November, and I keep forgetting that it's November and it's August. Somebody says, oh, my son is now this old. And I go, that's not even possible. What month is it? It's like, anyway, so we started having these conversations, and he saw it as us having two places that were planted. One in Ontario because his family is there, and one somewhere warm. And one of the places that he had been used to going to and really loves is Florida. So I said, yeah, I keep seeing wheels. And so we went to different RV shows, and we were looking and talked about different things. And when 2020 arrived in all of its glory and all of the interesting things that transpired, we said, we need to leave. We need to go outside the city, and we need to travel. And we can't leave the country right now. So if we were to stop and pick up we actually bought the motorhome from my brother. And so he lives in British Columbia. So we drove to British Columbia, we picked up the motorhome, and we spent a year and a half on Vancouver Island, hiking the glorious mountains of Vancouver Island, exploring the ancient forests, listening to trees, feeling trees converse together, and feeling all of that glorious energy, and just had an amazing time. After the second winter of spending on the island, I said, I don't want to spend another winter here. And so we decided come May the 1st, we would leave, and we would travel across the country in our motorhome all the way and visit my family, and then go visit his family in Toronto. So my family's in Winnipeg. And many things came with the year that is this one. My father died January the 28th. My sister's youngest son died March the 26th. And my mother died May the 28th. And there have been more things that have happened since. We also had a stillborn grandchild in July. And now my sister's oldest son has a heart issue. and they're all interconnected, but we don't. And so we went and did all this visiting, which was really amazing, and traveled through the journey of grief as we went. So it was a very, very hard year in transition. And we had decided that we were going to go south for the winter. And we packed it, we sold everything, we packed everything up, and we crossed the border on, when was that? Was that, I think it was July the 17th. I wasn't sure it was August the 17th or July all of a sudden. And we crossed the border on July the 17th, and we took from July the 17th to October the 31st to arrive here. So we drove through the states and visited family and friends and explored. And it was really interesting because it was like God created space for us to be alone, because everywhere we went was isolated. Everywhere we went was empty, because it was opposite season. And so we got a chance to spend a lot of time together, and a lot of time, you know, living in the space of spirit and just having quiet, you know. So we did get some rest, and each day was another adventure, and there was a lot of stress that happened along the way. And we were referred to this place, this little village. We'd never been here before. We looked at pictures. We never knew our motorhome, we never saw before either, except by pictures. We bought it by visual. And so we came here knowing that it would be the right place. And when it wasn't anymore, we would carry on, and we would, you know, so our intention was to be here for 6 months. So we were referred to here by people that camped beside us in the first winter that we spent on Vancouver Island. They said this park, they said this village, and now we're here, and they just arrived. So they're back for another season. And there's many people here that are repeats. And many people, I've met so many people that have just bought property here and are building. So it's quite interesting. And yeah, so that's how we got here. And we really felt led. We really did, you know, everything felt, the trials that we went through have taught us courage. We had an incident that happened where I've never felt so much fear in my life that I can remember, that I was kind of disappointed. I thought, gee, you know, maybe I didn't have enough faith is why I had so much fear. And I have a spiritual mentor, and she said to me, she said, faith isn't not having fear. Faith is staying with it and moving forward, regardless of the amount of fear. I had one split second of my desire to run, and it was gone so quickly. It surprised me. So, yeah, it was a true testament, I suppose, of really feeling a tremendous amount of fear and not running from it.
Would that be part of maybe being grateful for the fact that you embraced fear?
Yeah, I'm actually very grateful for the entire journey, and thank you, Kathryn, for bringing that up, because though there were challenges, I felt there was purpose in them, you know, because we were, each day in our devotional time, we were asking for more expansion in growing our minds and growing our hearts. Well, when you ask for that, you then become challenged. And I don't think that we expect that. But when we recognize where it's coming from, then it allows us to be grateful for the challenge.
Reflection, time to think.
Yeah.
Kate, there's something that thank you for sharing. There's something that, Laurie, was there something else that you wanted to ask?
There was a second question.
Yeah, it was about gratitude, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think we got there.
Yeah. Are you feel heard about that?
I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I want to make sure that you articulated that to your satisfaction. There's something that we like to do with our show. We like to pass the mic over to you and rehearse so our audience knows. And we'd like you to, if you feel like you'd like to play along with us, ask us a question. Let us know who the question is guided to. It could be the same question or a different question, and we'll answer you. So we'd like to pass the show over to you for a few minutes, and then we'll take it back.
Okay. So, Laurie, the question that just popped into my mind, can you think of a time when in this journey that you've been sharing with Kathryn, that you had an idea of what it would look like, which is why you guys connected and you decided to do this. But what is something that really impacted you that you weren't expecting? What surprised you?
You know, I would have to say the first thing that comes to my head is that, you know, I thought, oh, we had this great idea. And I knew we were both entrepreneurs and we both had several businesses under our belt. And so we could put this thing together and we could do great things with it and travel the world together. But I never expected that I would find one of my very best friends in the process through the whole thing, you know, and so, you know, with that, I mean, over the granted, working together for 10 years every single week, you know, you get to know each other a little bit, even though we're in different countries. And we've traveled together and we've roomed together and been little roomies and all that. But it just, I mean, we text and talk so often. And anytime either one of us has something major wonderful or major not so good, we're talking and we're talking each other through it. And that's, you know, one of the great things of a really good friend too, is when you need that, you know, we both are in fields that we, you know, are to be up for other people and uplifting and, you know, helping other people. But, you know, sometimes we ourselves need moments and need a little help up, right? And we can be that for each other. And we always are. At least I hope I am for her too. But I know for a fact she is for me, because I know,
Yes.
I mean, she's one of the first people that I'm like, if something's going on, I'm like calling or texting her and, you know, saying da 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 da, and she's just taking me off the ledge, just calm and sweet and serenely.
Nice. Very nice. Kathryn, because you've been involved with Send Out Cards, and I don't know what came first, but I kind of think because of our conversation when I interviewed you, you had such an amazing upbringing. There was to me, I was like, wow, she was so blessed. And so when you were introduced to the company that you're with now, that you've been with for a long time, would you say, like, was it something that you embraced right away, or was it something that you kind of resisted? Like, what was that piece around your business? Like, to me, it seems like just such a perfect fit. Totally. But I imagine there's a lot more to that.
No, thank you for that question. And first I want to answer Laurie. Laurie, you are the first person that I communicate with. And yes, I'm always there for you. And thank you for always being there for me and finding my best friend on stage, not knowing where that would go has been such a blessing. And it is so heartwarming knowing when I go to sleep and when I wake up, it doesn't matter what time of day or night, you're right there. Doesn't matter, day or night. So thank you for that. So Kate, for that question, thank you for bringing up my my upbringing, my family. It means a lot to me. When I saw Send Out Cards, it was an instant fit. Is a cute little story to that. I was introduced to Send Out Cards on my own. I was told to contact Irina Makarsky because she was not a present. I was going to say a parent. She was not present at the meeting that I went to. So I went to her website and it said, send a free card. And I thought, how is she going to know I want her? Why am I going to send her a card? I just want to send her an email. Like, I didn't get why. So I thought, all right, I'm going to send a free card, but I can't send it to her. I don't know where. So I opened up this link and I walked myself through it. I had a white Apple, you know, like Sex in the City. I had to have a white Apple. I had it on my lap. My husband was next to me. And I said, if we were two sports cars, we would both be Ferraris. And I sent him this card. And I was telling him, look what I'm doing. I'm sending you a card. This is so cool. And there was a little wizard man that popped up and told us the story about the company. And the next morning at 9 o'clock, I get a phone call from Alex Makarsky. And I thought, oh, it's the man on the screen. I didn't know. I was like, was that you last night? And he said, hi, my name is Alex Makarsky, and you sent a card on our system last night, and I want to welcome you and introduce myself and ask you how that experience was. And I thought, oh my gosh, how did you know I sent that card? I just didn't put it together. I came from the world of psychology and I wasn't thinking about technology at all. It felt like such a great thing to do because I was in Canada. My family was all over, my clients, my patients, my friends. I thought, I'm going to send cards. I started to raise money for breast cancer. Like I was in a networking group, so it was 2 days later. And 14 women joined my team. I didn't know anybody in Ontario. I just said, I'll be the team leader. And it dawned on me, if 14 women would join my team to run for breast cancer, probably 14 women would join my team to send out cards. And I very quickly built a team. So it felt like a really good fit. It felt like the right thing to do. And I remember saying to myself, I didn't have any grandchildren yet. 2008, my grandson was born. Sorry, that's not true. I had one grandchild. I had two grandchildren, but one, my daughter had one. And I said to myself, he could watch me send cards till I'm 80 or 90. I could do this forever. All I have to do is push a button. I didn't know how many grandchildren I would have. I'm blessed to have 7. My daughter has 6 children. And I remember thinking, I used to sell condos. I was in real estate, had a psychology health clinic, all those businesses. But to explain it to a child, I thought, I send cards. That's what I do. You will understand that. To this day, my grandchildren say, RaRa, this is a great picture. Let's make a card. And they watch me, help me, are in the process. And that's what I envisioned, Kate, that my grandchildren, my future grandchildren, would watch me make a card no matter how old I was. And I wouldn't need to explain anything. And they would see something that I could do and the passion that I have for it. So thank you for asking that question. It has always resonated with me from day one because my send out cards account is in my hand. It's in my phone. And it's a great pleasure for me. So thank you for asking that. I appreciate your observation.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Laurie, we take the show back, right? We could talk for a really long time. We have lots of things that we can say to one another. Let me ask you, what do you think about my nails? Look what I did today. I have gold hearts getting ready for a holiday party. Maybe it's hard to see unless you're really close up, but I also wanted to do something fun for our show tonight. So you know how they say women do things for other women? So I did this for the girls tonight for our Gratitude Girls show. I wanted to spiff up my nail act because Laurie and I have a lot in common about that as well. So Laurie, there's so many things that we could say. Yeah, right? Look at us. Yeah, I love it. there's so many things that we could say about our experience with Kate and what Kate has said, so many spin-offs, and my mind opens to think about, you know, the move that she and her husband made and how is that affecting. I have 100 more questions I want to ask you, but for our audience who has questions for Kate, they can reach her, and they could also be in Kate's seat, so to speak. So before I go to that part, Kate, is there anything that you want to say to anyone while we have the opportunity? Is there any message that's coming through that you would like to vocalize?
Yes, there is. Every person has something that maybe they haven't done yet, and that they've been, oh, one day. And that piece is really, really important, because it's often the softest part of their heart that gets exposed when they begin to bring it out into the light. And so it can be scary. But I want to say something that what triggered this, reminded me of this, that I just love, and your vulnerability with each other is that know that when you reach the end of all of the light that you know, and you step off the edge into the darkness, you will either be given a soft place to land, or you will learn how to fly.
Thank you for that, Kate. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I asked you that question. We could end the show right here, right now. We have a close to
Yeah.
do, but that's a perfect ending to such a deep conversation with you. Hang out, stay with us. Our audience will want to be in touch with you. And we have all of the information on how they can reach you, or just go to Mexico and find you on the beach. Like, that's it. Just go to Mexico.
They'll have to call, because I'll have to find them a place to stay.
Yeah, right. Just when you're in Mexico, an hour from Puerto Vallarta, you'll know you'll find Kate. You'll see her there. She'll be somewhere swimming around. So, Laurie, what happens if somebody's looking at the show, watching the show tonight? They're saying, you know, I want to be Kate. Plus, I want to be in the hot seat of the Gratitude Girls. What do they have to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So go to our page at facebook.com/gratitude girls. Make sure you like our page, follow it, watch all our shows, and click the message button there. Send us your gratitude story, and make sure you leave us your contact information also on how to get back with you. We are booking towards the end of 2023. So it will be a while till you get to be on our show. You'll have to have patience. But we do this every month, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific. And so it's always the fourth Tuesday night of every month. And so if you want to be on our show, send us a message.
That's awesome. And before we close, I'd like to say that we're having a retreat, and that's such a warm thing for us to be able to talk about. It's a pop-up virtual retreat. So no matter where you are in the world, Mexico, any continent, pick the country, pick the city, you could join us on December 7th. You can look on our website, December 7th, for our Gratitude Girls pop-up virtual retreat for 3 hours. And if you want to have a little bit of an intense, in-depth retreat about gratitude, or just want to be like super deep about it, let us know ahead of time. Tell us how you're feeling and join us for this retreat. And maybe we'll tell you a little bit more about what's coming up after. So, Kate, thank you so much for being a guest. We appreciate you being here. Laurie, from my heart to yours, to our audience, we couldn't do this without you. We're going into 10 years. We're celebrating. We're going to keep celebrating and celebrating you. So thank you so much, from my heart to yours. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you,
to be
ladies.
here.
This is an awesome
Good night,
show.
everyone.
Ciao.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good night. Thank you.
See you next time.